This time, I would like to call the regular meeting to order. Clerk of the board, please call roll.
Arencibia,
Present.
Emerald,
Here.
Solis,
Present.
Aguirre,
Here.
Mr. Lopez and Ms. Lopez Zepeda are absent.
This is the point on the agenda where members of the public may address the board on matters posted for the special meeting and in accordance with Government Code Section 54954.3, Section A. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public to directly address the legislative body concerning any item that has been described in the notice for the meeting before or during that consideration of that item. Each person wishing to address an item on the meeting notice in closed session will have 2 minutes to do so.
There are no speakers.
Since there's no communication, I will recess the meeting for the consideration of the following closed session items as posted in the meeting notice. 1, student expulsions, suspended expulsions, reinstatements, Education Code Section 48916-48918, students identified by case and ID number. 2, public employee evaluation, appointment transfer, Government Code Section 54957. 3, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, Government Code Section 54957. 4, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, paragraph 1 of subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9. 5, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, paragraph 2 of subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9. And 6, conference with labor negotiator, Government Code Section 54957.6. We will now adjourn to closed session. patience. This time, I would like to reconvene the regular board meeting. Clerk of the board, please call roll.
Arencibia?
Present.
Emerald? Yes. Lopez?
Here.
Lopez Cepeda is absent. Solis?
Present.
Aguirre?
Here.
Flores?
Here.
We will now hold a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance, led by our Student Board Representative, Ms. Flores.
Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. The board met in closed session preceding this meeting to discuss the following issues. 1, student expulsions, suspended expulsions, reinstatements, Education Code Section 48916-48918, students identified by case and ID number. 2, public employee evaluation, appointment transfer, Government Code Section 54957. 3, public employee discipline dismissal release, Government Code Section 54957. 4, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, paragraph 1 of subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9. 5, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, paragraph 2 of subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9. And 6, conference with labor negotiator, Government Code Section 54957.6. The board took the following action. Moved by Arancibia, seconded by Solis, to approve the appointment of Jose Luis Vargas as principal of Southwest High School, with the vote of Arancibia, yes; Emerald, yes; Lopez, yes; Lopez Cepeda, absent; Solis, yes. Moved by Solis, seconded by Arancibia, to approve the appointment of Julissa Gracias as principal, Hilltop High School, with the vote of Arancibia, yes; Emerald, yes; Lopez, yes; Lopez Cepeda, absent; Solis, yes. Moved by Emerald, seconded by Lopez, to approve the appointment of Dean Navarrete as principal, Lunch Virtual Academy, with the vote of Arancibia, yes; Emerald, yes; Lopez, yes; Lopez Cepeda, absent; Solis, yes. Moved by Arancibia, seconded by Emerald, to approve the appointment of Andy Tracas as principal of special assignment of adult school, with the vote of Arancibia, yes; Emerald, yes; Lopez, yes; Lopez Cepeda, absent; Solis, yes. Moved by Arancibia, seconded by Solis, to deny the request for leave of absence for one certificated employee, with the vote of Arancibia, yes; Emerald, yes; Lopez, yes; Lopez Cepeda, absent; Solis, yes. Moved by Arancibia, seconded by Solis, to approve the request for leave of absence for one certificated employee, with the vote of Arancibia, yes; Emerald, yes; Lopez, yes; Lopez Cepeda, absent; Solis, yes. Moved by Arancibia, seconded by Lopez, to deny the request for leave of absence for one certificated employee, with the vote of Arancibia, yes; Emerald, yes; Lopez, yes; Lopez Cepeda, absent; Solis, yes. Moved by Lopez, seconded by Solis, that at the May 1st special meeting, there was a report out of the approval of the termination of and dismissal charges for a classified employee in an accountant position, and directed counsel to draft a decision approving the dismissal charges. Tonight, the board approved the written decision affirming that action, with the vote of Arancibia, yes; Emerald, yes; Lopez, yes; Lopez Cepeda, absent; Solis, yes. This time, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda for the May 11th, 2026 regular board meeting.
So moved.
A motion. I have a motion and a second.
Flores?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald? Yes. Lopez?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
The board is very pleased to recognize 2 of our high schools for being named California Distinguished Schools, which is a statewide recognition led by the California Department of Education. Schools are chosen based on key areas such as exemplary academic achievement and closing the achievement gaps. The selected schools hold this designation for 2 years. Please help me to congratulate Principal Salazar from Bonita Vista High and Principal Huslin from East Lake High on this distinguished honor. Come up and
Yes, so thank you, President Solis. I'll ask Principal Huslin from East Lake High School to come up and say a few words. Again, just want to express our appreciation for all the hard work that goes into
this particular award. And just for anybody who may not be familiar with it, this is not something that you apply for or that you seek. It's something that the California Department of Education goes through an analysis and identifies schools making significant gains. So with that, Ms. Haslund.
And I'm very honored to be representing the staff, the students, and the community. It is not the work of one person that earns this accomplishment. It's really the work of our dedicated staff, both certificated and classified. Our students who right now are studying for all their 2,600 AP exams that they take. And really the support of their families and the community at large. And so I'm just very honored to be here just representing that community. And so thank you very much.
Thank you. The board is proud to recognize 2 of our high schools for being named Purple Star Schools. The Purple Star Schools program is led by the California Department of Education. It recognizes schools that demonstrate a strong commitment to supporting military-connected students and families. The program aims to provide support, stability, and a sense of belonging to military families, even as they move between schools. Please help me congratulate Principal Huslin from Eastlake High and Principal Alcala from Otay Ranch High on this prestigious recognition.
Thank you. And I'll ask the 2 principals as well as anybody who they would like to join them at the microphone, and then we'll do a picture afterwards. So Principal Huslin seems to be an overachiever this evening.
Yeah, there's worse things I've been accused of. And so I just want to again thank the hard work of our staff, Mr. Duke Rayleigh here, who is our Department of Defense coordinator and runs the club for our military-related students at Eastlake. And he's been very instrumental in not only applying for Purple Star status, but also really developing an on-the-ground spot for our students to have a place to go where they feel at home. And we're really making sure that the military-related child is taken care of, because oftentimes they move from place to place, and so they have a home at Eastlake and at Otay Ranch.
Board, Superintendent, thank you for the recognition. Like Ms. Huslin said, you know, it does take an effort from a team. Today we have Dina Donato Palmore, one of our counselors, and Caitlin Dunford, which is one of our counselors that is through a military grant that we have at Otay Ranch High School. With over 10% of our students being military connected, when we saw the opportunity to apply for this recognition, it was a no-brainer for us. Looking at our systems and what we do for our students, we felt that we had a strong program to support our students that are really in transition in and out of San Diego because of our strong military presence here in San Diego. And it just brings a lot of pride in knowing that Otay Ranch High School has students from all over the United States, and we are so diverse because of our military community, and I think that's what makes us stronger. So the ability to be able to support them truly is an honor and a privilege and something that we're really proud of. So thank you for the recognition.
And before you step away, we do have some award recognitions.
She can't. She can't.
Here's the first shot right here. Good job. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will now have a message from our superintendent, Dr. Moises Aguirre.
Thank you, President Solis. Good evening and buenas tardes to everybody. Welcome and bienvenidos to our May 11th, 2026 meeting of the Board of Education. Before beginning this evening's update, I'd like to just offer a brief but important belated Mother's Day celebration recognition to all the moms out there. Here's to celebrating you on your day, which was yesterday. Here are a sampling of activities across the district since our last board meeting. We held the 4th annual Mental Health Youth Leadership Summit at Hilltop High School. We held the 24th annual Honoring Our Own Gala, where our very own Miss Veronica Plummer was recognized at a CSBA event. We had a South County Community School Summit hosted by our partner and feeder district at South Bay Union High School District, but we were definitely in attendance. The 2026 Excellence Award celebrating parents, staff, and students. We held our Black Student Union Rites of Passage celebration. Again, this is becoming quite the celebration, and we're very proud to sponsor it. Dr. Arancibia and I participated in the inaugural meeting of the South County Higher Education Planning Task Force, which is a committee working on efforts towards bringing higher education, i.e. a university or multiple universities, to the South Bay. We also held the Sweetwater Solar Sprint Competition in National City Middle School. We held the 2026 Employee Recognition event at Southwest High School, where we recognized employees who reached a milestone year of service or who will be retiring. And in addition to these events, we also observed the following celebrations since our last board meeting. We observed and celebrated Teacher Appreciation Week, School Principal Day, Administrative Professional Day, amongst other recognitions and celebrations. I think all these events and recognitions go to a reflection of how strong and vibrant our district and our community is. We do this in service to support our students, our staff, our parents, and truly our broader, I would argue, binational community. And with that, gracias por la oportunidad de servir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aguirre. And now we will have a message from Ms. Elizabeth Flores, our Student Board Representative.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Last week, I had the pleasure of hosting my very last meeting with the ASB President's Council. Here, I announced the winner of our bathroom PSA video project that the Presidents and I have been working on this entire semester. Back in December, after several meetings, the ASB Presidents and I noticed a reoccurring theme when it came to bathroom sentiment, that bathrooms were frequently closed or hard to access during the school day on many campuses. We soon realized that a big reason for why bathrooms are being closed is in response to vandalism and bathroom misuse by our own students and peers. As the leaders of our school's ASBs, a big part of what we do is contributing to the culture and climate of our campuses. So, in order to help combat this issue, we came up with the call to change in the form of a friendly competition. Each high school in SUHSD would create a bathroom public service announcement video in which they address proper bathroom etiquette aimed at engaging students in a fun and educational way. A panel of judges would then watch all the videos and determine the winner. The winning video would be placed on the district's website and played in every school across SUHSD. The winning school's ASB would also enjoy taco catering for their entire ASB. Last week, I had the pleasure of announcing the selected winner to our presidents, the winning school being San Isidro High School. Congratulations. I am beyond thankful and thrilled about the outcome of this project. I'd like to give a huge thank you to Ms. Christina Fox and Dr. Moore for making this possible and allowing our ideas to come to fruition. I'd also like to thank every high school who participated in the video competition. It is important that we acknowledge just how much impact us student leaders can have on our fellow students. That is why I hope that receiving such an important message, such as the importance of proper bathroom etiquette on campus, would adhere better to our students coming from their very own peers. Although the ASB presidents are graduating this year, I am lucky enough to be able to see the impact this project will have, and I am beyond excited. I am also excited and extremely thankful to announce that this video making competition will become a yearly activity that takes place in SUHSD with the ASB President's Council led by the current board representative. The presidents and I are extremely honored to know that we have created our legacy in the form of a creative video that will last beyond our graduation dates and hopefully continue to benefit the Sweetwater generations to come. Again, I'd like to thank everyone who was involved in this project, including the assembled panel of judges and so many more. I am so excited to see the display of the winning video as well as the impact this project will have in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. Very impressive. The board would like to welcome the DLEC President, Adolfo Villarreal, and the DPEC President, Beatriz Sanchez-Blevins, who will present the DLEC Joint Report to the board.
President, Mr. Arturo Solis, esteemed board members, Superintendent Aguirre, and Student Board Representative Elizabeth Flores. My name is Alejandra Nzunza, and I serve as the Director of State and Federal Programs. And this evening, we are here to provide an update on our parent and student feedback collected between December of 2025 and April 2026 through our District English Learner Advisory Committee, DLAC, our District Parent Advisory Committee, DPAC, and our District Student Advisory Committee, DSAC. So at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce both our DLAC President, Mr. Adolfo Villarreal, and our DPAC President, Ms. Beatriz Sanchez-Blevins, who will present the feedback gathered through these district committees. Thank you. Go first. I think Ms. Blevins is going to go first today. And if you did attend the Excellence Awards, thank you. They did a wonderful job that night, so I just want to thank them again.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Sorry, I just came from my son's baseball game. They won. 2 games away from CIF. Send us positive thoughts. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and start. At the DPAC-DLAC joint meeting held on January 1st, 2026, parents suggested early student support, strong parent and counselor collaboration, revised attendance practices, expanded Saturday school support, and additional academic support for student athletes. At the DPAC meeting held on February 18th, parents suggested more communication and student performance, expanding academic interventions and tutoring, increasing special education support, providing additional resources to help parents support learning at home. They also emphasize a stronger communication between schools and families. Finally, at the DPAC meeting held on April 15, 2026, parents suggested improving restrooms cleanliness and ensuring all campus air conditioning systems are fully functional. They recommended strengthening the Saturday school program, extending lunch time slightly, and reviewing the effectiveness of campus security cameras, while also considering adding more for increased safety. In addition, they encourage greater parent participation in the school safety committee and proposed a policy allowing a witness or recording during student questionings to ensure fairness and transparency. So with that being said, there was a lot said, obviously, during these meetings. There's so much out there. I would encourage all the members to go out to your schools, to speak to students directly, to speak to parents. It is very important that we don't leave any child behind. My son is fortunate to have me. I'm very, I was gonna say aggressive, that's not the right word. Aggressive too, but assertive. I'm an advocate. Yeah, no, I know. But sometimes maybe called aggressive, but I'm assertive. I am the biggest advocate of my kids. So with that being said, some of the other students don't have that. And I implore you to please go out there. We have to start thinking again on how we can get these kids engaged. There's so many that are not. These kids they're different now. They don't make them the same. So I encourage you to maybe start having these conversations where, you know, the conventional way of learning is maybe not the conventional way for most students, because we're also unconventional and special in their own ways. So I thank you for that, and go Mariners.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Adolfo Villarreal Carmona y también parte de los comités DLAC, DPAC, donde recibimos mucha información de los padres de familia de las diferentes escuelas y nos las hacen llegar para ser nosotros quienes las traigamos hacia ustedes, y son sugerencias, son peticiones que muchas veces coincidimos, pero son necesidades que nosotros como padres vemos y creemos que podemos ayudarlos a trabajar y mejorar y solucionar todas las situaciones que se nos presentan. Entonces voy a dar un informe sobre todas las peticiones y las sugerencias que hemos recabado en nuestros comités, ¿sí? Dice, los padres en la reunión combinada de DPAC y DLAC del 10 de diciembre del 2025 recomendaron ampliar las oportunidades de participación familiar y fortalecer la comunicación mediante una divulgación constante y accesible. También hicieron hincapié en la creación de de entornos escolares más acogedores, talleres para padres y alumnos, el fortalecimiento de las alianzas comunitarias y la mejor de la programación para evitar conflictos entre los eventos del distrito y los sitios escolares. En la reunión de DILAC llevada a cabo el 19 de febrero del 2026, los padres enfatizaron la necesidad de un mayor apoyo para los estudiantes de inglés mediante una comunicación más clara entre los padres y el sitio escolar sobre los programas ELD. Recursos familiares multilingües, aumento de la financiación y personal. Además, solicitaron ampliación de los programas de apoyo académico y social. También recomendaron formación adicional para profesorado, sistemas de mentoría, compartir prácticas escolares exitosas y un seguimiento continuo para mejorar el rendimiento estudiantil y el desarrollo del lenguaje. En el evento conjunto DPAC-DILAC, celebrado el 12 de marzo de 2026, los padres priorizaron el aprendizaje estudiantil, recursos equitativos y ampliación de los apoyos para los estudiantes de inglés, asesoramiento, asistencia, prevención del acoso escolar y opciones de aprendizaje flexibles para fortalecer la implicación y el bienestar estudiantil. También recomendaron mejorar la comunicación propuestas mediante el uso del lenguaje claro y accesible para aumentar la participación de familias y estudiantes en el proceso de ELCAB. Y finalmente, en la reunión de DILAC del 16 de abril, los padres recomendaron reforzar el apoyo a los estudiantes reduciendo el tamaño de clases, mejorando la formación de sustitutos, mejorando el mantenimiento del baño, añadiendo filtros de agua y asegurando un flujo de tráfico más fluido antes y después de la escuela. También hicieron hincapié en dar a los profesores más tiempo para actualizar los recursos de Júpiter y así facilitar una comunicación oportuna con las familias. Este es el informe que les hago traer de las escuelas y de los padres de familia del comité de DILAC y DIPAC. Muchas gracias.
I hope the translator got all that.
Okay, I'm gonna read the report. Sorry, the report in English. Parents at the combined DPAC-DILAC meeting on December 10, 2025 recommended expanding opportunities for family engagement and strengthening communication through consistent and accessible outreach. They also emphasized creating more welcoming school environments, workshops for parents and students, and strengthening community partnerships and improving programming to avoid conflicts with district events and school sites. At the DILAC meeting held on February 19, 2026, parents emphasized the need for greater support for English learners through clearer communication between parents and the school site about ELD programs, multilingual family resources, increased funding, and staffing. In addition, they requested the expansion of academic and social support programs. They also recommended additional teaching, training, mentoring systems, sharing successful school practices, and ongoing monitoring to improve student achievement and language development. At the joint DPAC-DILAC event held on March 12, 2026, parents prioritized student learning, equitable resources, and expanded supports for English learners, counseling, attendance, bullying prevention, and flexible learning options to strengthen student engagement and well-being. They also recommended improving budget communication by using clear and accessible language to increase family and student participation in the LCAP process. And finally, at the April 16 DILAC meeting, parents recommended bolstering support for students by reducing class sizes, improving substitute training, improving restroom maintenance, adding water filters, and ensuring ensuring a smoother flow of traffic before and after school. They also emphasize giving teachers more time to update Jupiter courses to facilitate timely communication with the families. Thank you. And
Thank-
as you also said, the parents of the DLAC, DPAC, and all the parents, thank you. And those are their reports.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Yes, Ms. Emerald?
I would just like to get a complete copy of that report, and in English, if possible.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You should have a copy in.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Good. Thank you. Gracias.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is the point of the agenda where members of the public may address the board on any matter not on the agenda and have 3 minutes each to do so. Pursuant to board bylaw, the board may limit the time for public comment on any single topic to 20 minutes per topic. The Board of Trustees cannot legally take action on or respond to matters not posted on the public agenda, but will refer the matter to the superintendent's office for review and report. Speakers shall speak in a respectful manner. Thank you for your cooperation.
The first speaker is Kathleen Cheers.
I'd like to begin the meeting by congratulating the district on the recent San Diego Taxpayers Association score for transparency regarding our prop bond proposition, you know what I'm talking about, measures. Thank you. There's so many different definitions of it. Undoubtedly, the expertise of Ms. Quirk, Dr. Salkeld, and expectations of Dr. Aguirre have contributed. I've been advised Dr. Winters has decided to leave his long tenure as one of Sweetwater's premier, best, and retire. Other than Ms. Vicedo and Dr. Winters, few in this audience bore witness to the early days. Days of police attendance, police threatening to physically remove Maddie Adato, and me warning the officer I would be holding on to her heels to prevent it. And then there was the evening 5 police cars drove up to get a McCann sign out of the back of my car. The officers had called their captain. Fortunately, that very kind captain was able to promise me he would personally take the sign to Main Street and turn it in as it had been illegally placed. If a book were written about those corrupt days, it would be a bestseller. And who was there, weathering the many storms, retaining his credibility as a true leader? One who was respected for credibility and expertise, Dr. Winters. His calm demeanor, unshakable ethics, highly respected. Dr. Winters, I bid you farewell, offering thoughts of happiness, health, peace, and free Monday evenings. Thank you, sir, for your many years of excellent service. You will be missed and undoubtedly remain irreplaceable in so many ways. I would like to close with a quote by Ted Turner, CNN founder. I found it to be more than apropos regarding these meetings. You don't have to agree with people politically to believe they have worth. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sandra Hodge.
Good evening, President Solis, Dr. Aguirre, and board members. And I come before you to sincerely thank you for choosing Moena Santee and as our independent study principal and Araceli Perconi to serve as our assistant principal. Under this dynamic duo's inspirational and energizing leadership, I have personally witnessed 2 years of great accomplishments, watched numerous students begin to believe in themselves again, and enjoyed the cohesiveness that grows from fabulous team building collaboration. Their teamwork is cohesive, like peanut butter and jelly. From the very onset, Moena Santee has understood the needs, challenges, and possibilities of alternative education because she has been intensely involved in it for many years. Moreover, she is a motivational catalyst who envisions possibilities and wins others over to join her in bringing her vision into reality. Just this past year, we have witnessed the plethora of leadership skills in action as she successfully opened Options Middle College High School. Now, so while Moena has concentrated her time overseeing Options Middle College High School, our assistant principal, Araceli Perez-Baconi, has been charged with overseeing the independent study program where teachers like me work at comprehensive high schools, working one-on-one with students. Now, she too has been a perfect fit for our program. So as a former Learning Center director, she is intimately familiar with the intricacies of independent study and our students. Now, what makes their partnership so dynamic is the effectiveness with which they execute their respective responsibilities. Their collaborative partnership works exceedingly well, especially when it is noted that Options Middle College High School and Alternative Education operate on two different time schedules. In fact, despite the differing school year timelines, both Moena and Araceli effectively provide students and staff from both sites and areas across the district and city with proactive support, regardless of which administrator is currently in session. So again, their cohesive leadership can be symbolized by my peanut butter and jelly analogy. They go together. So when making administrative changes, keep this partnership in mind. Remember, they are like peanut butter and jelly, and they are tasty administrative team. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
for a visual aid, so that you can remember, I brought you all a peanut butter and jelly so that you can remember
Oh my
what
gosh.
a tasty companionship they are and how we have flourished physically, emotionally, and in all regards. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
JP Garcia. Thank you. Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't have peanut butter. My name is Juan Pablo Garcia. I teach advanced placement microeconomics and macroeconomics at Eastlake High School. Last month, Dr. Winters presented the board with an implementation update on the formative assessment program. If I had to sum up the report, it was a lot of talking points buttressed by some misleading data. For starters, it cited the number of assignments on the platform. Here's the truth about that number. Many, if not most, teachers give multiple version tests, but formative does not support multiple version answer sheets, so teachers have resorted to creating separate assignments for each version of the exact same test. So yeah, my classroom alone has 4 times the number of assignments on formative than it had on Illuminate. This is due to the software's inefficiency, and it's not something that I would boast about. In preparing this report, there is one critical thing that was not done, and that's send out a district-wide survey to all Sweetwater teachers to solicit their honest opinions about the platform. Instead of propagandizing for the platform by cherry-picking a few supportive voices, let's ask everyone district-wide for their honest feedback. There should be no reluctance to conduct a district-wide survey if the rollout is as successful as last month's presentation suggests. I realize that some of you have already made up your mind. In particular, Ms. Lopez Cepeda, who's not here, said we should stay the course and implied the software is unpopular because it's new or because teachers don't know how to use it yet. Clearly, she doesn't think very highly of us as classroom educators if she thinks all we need is additional hand-holding. So for those that share the same condescending view of classroom teachers, let me just set the record straight about the level we play at. Today, you recognized Eastlake High School for being named a California Distinguished School. I think it's fair to say that Eastlake High School's success stems in part from its stellar teaching staff. I have a fun fact. Eastlake High School has not one, but 2 teachers with Ivy League PhDs. For the record, I'm not one of them. Go Blue Jays. My point is this. While you may not be paying us $250,000 a year like those in the district office that get to choose what software we use, we take some comfort in the knowledge that we're still a hell of a lot smarter and far more connected to the realities of what actually works and doesn't inside the classroom, whether you choose to believe us or not. So I reiterate my call for an independent, district-wide survey to provide the board with the unbiased truth about formative. Don't take one teacher's word for it. God knows I am tired of channeling the frustrations of so many fellow teachers, especially if it makes me a target of district leadership, who at last month's meeting called me specious and beyond the pale simply for questioning the motives behind a deeply unpopular adoption that seemed to make no financial, or pedagogical sense. And for the record, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Dr. Winters. In full disclosure, his son was in my AP economics class many, many years ago, and to this day, I remember him as one of the smartest, nicest kids, and it reflected tremendously about, his parents. But in this regard, I disagree with this decision, and I will continue to voice out against it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karami Jimenez.
Good afternoon. My name is Karime Jimenez, representing Bonita Vista Middle School, and today I am going to say a speech that was said at the SHA certification about my experience with the Tupe program. Since I joined the Tupe program and became a part of a club dedicated to providing awareness of tobacco products, I have seen that we are many important voices on campus. The Tupe program has given us tools and resources to protect our peers and students by being targeted by the tobacco industry. The events and activities are very effective, and I got to experience success firsthand from the people that participated. Being a part of the mission and educating others through knowledge I have gained made me a leader in helping others. I have gained so much experience from being a part of an organization that is working to advocate for a smoke-free school environment, and I appreciate the experience I got firsthand of leadership and teamwork. Thank you to the Tupe program to making schools a safer environment to people who are struggling with addiction with drugs and nicotine. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Aaron, and I'm sorry I can't read your last name.
Good afternoon, board. My name is Aaron Malakara. I'm a student at Orange High School, and I wanted to talk about what the Tobacco Use Prevention Education Program, otherwise known as TUPE, has done for me. I've been in the TUPE program and got certified twice as a student health advocate. Throughout my time getting certified, I've grown so much. Before this program, if you told me I'd be speaking at City Council, events with over 100 people, or here, I wouldn't believe you, but that's something the TUPE program has changed. My confidence has grown so much, and that's something I can take with me for the rest of my life. Along with that, something I've been given is so many opportunities to help my community, with some examples being YDI and Spring Jam leadership camps where I served as youth staff and helped run groups of students from this district and the San Diego Unified School District, along with the Sweetwater Youth Mental Health Summit, where I did a presentation on overcoming health and ran informational booths on alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. Along with that, I've been given opportunities to work with different groups like Friday Night Live, which is a statewide student health group, where I was picked as a candidate to serve on the California Youth Council and the San Diego County Advocates for a Better Community Youth Council. I wouldn't have had the chance to do anything like this, but this program has changed me so much and given me all these opportunities. I'm forever grateful for this program. It would be extremely sad to see this district go without it. I hope this district can figure out a way to keep this program because it benefits students like me and helps all the students in this district by educating them on the dangers of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff Betker.
Good afternoon, Superintendent, President, board members. My name is Jeff Betker. I'm a resident of Chula Vista and also the father of a 24-year-old son whose recent death could have been prevented. By the way, my son was a beloved special ed teacher. You are all aware of the ongoing battle we fight regarding tobacco use and vaping. Students are seen vaping on buses, and we have an epidemic of vaping in school bathrooms. Here is the strongest evidence that we're losing that war. Out of 142 licenses of smoke shops in Chula Vista, 33 of them are found along the Broadway corridor, right over here. I don't even think there's 33 taco shops along that corridor. If that wasn't bad enough, the enemy has now dropped a nuclear bomb on us. It's Kratom, K-R-A-T-O-M. Kratom is marketed as a natural supplement. It is sold as a green powder that looks like any other protein powder or matcha that's so popular these days. However, unlike other substances, it is deadly. Hundreds of people last year, including my son, died in exactly the same way, a sudden massive seizure with no warning. Current American culture does not help. Walk into any Sprouts or similar store and you will see rows of vitamins, herbs, pre-workout powders, post-workout powders, etc., right? It's everywhere. Kratom is a leaf from Southeast Asia where it has been chewed for centuries. However, U.S. companies can intensify the active ingredient with no regulation at all. In fact, because of the danger, Kratom has been banned from import from the United States for several years. Unfortunately, chemists can now create the active ingredient. Kratom comes with no warning on the packaging. By the way, Kratom is also illegal in the state of California. So how is it that you can drive down 3rd Avenue or Broadway and see smoke shops actively advertising Kratom on their front window? It's because current enforcement policies are ineffective and not likely to change anytime soon. So why am I here today? We all know that where there is a demand, there will be a supplier. Our only solution is education to reduce the demand. Students must be told that Kratom is not like other anxiety relief substances. High levels of toxicity build up in the brain and cause a sudden seizure. For my son, we were happily watching basketball on TV one moment, then the next moment he was gone. The board needs to continue supporting education on these products because it's a moving target, from cigarettes to nicotine patches to candy-flavored vapes to Kratom. There will always be something new, and there will always be predatory marketers looking to take advantage of our students. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
David Boehm.
Good evening, Board. I hope you won't mind, but I want to depart from my prepared subjects just to endorse what you've heard from the last 2 speakers. My son was a graduate of that economics class at Eastlake High School. Every one of the graduates that I know of, and Eastlake not being a small school, whose kids went on to top 20, I'd say, universities, went through that course. So if it's a question of finding the money or effort for a survey of teachers, I would always pay attention to that. I think it's invaluable, particularly on learning software and any platforms. I'd also really like to find a regulation or a policy that allows you to reject Dr. Winter's request to resign and retire, but that's a different. You should just stay. But thank you for your service, sir. On Kratom, I worked with the United Nations on this as a government representative for the United States, and I can tell you, and I just looked it up again, it is not sanctioned by the FDA. It is listed as a dangerous chemical by DEA. It is up to states to control it because our ever-effective Congress has not quite added it to the Controlled Substances Act. But I couldn't agree more, and I just feel so sorry, sir, for your loss. But this kind of thing, and as it relates to vaping and all those kind of health issues, are incredibly important in our district. Other things that are important in our district. Student cell phones. There was a report just released a few days ago, actually, a national study on the impact of banning cell phones at schools. And you saw that as one of the suggestions from the DPAC-DLAC group. What I found interesting is the study revealed that the main effect they could document was social anxiety among the students for losing control of their cell phones for a few hours a day. And it caused a documented reaction that showed stress and anxiety. It went down after a relatively short time, but it was still there, alongside near zero impact on academic success. The authors of the study cautioned that it was relatively anecdotal, that it only involved a few surveys on a national scale, but it did suggest to me, and I'm hearing this at all sorts of wish well seminars and workshops that are run for parents, there's real concern still, and I would just suggest the board might want to think and the administration might want to think about whether a survey of students on what they see good and not so good about cell phones might be useful. Finally, there is a new mobile museum about Holocaust issues that's being offered for free And if you remember nothing else I say tonight, please say, remember, for free in San Diego County. It's by the Legacy of Light Group. A recent Union Tribune article said it was coming to Sweetwater. It hasn't been organized yet, and I had a very encouraging call from them on all the things they could do, even as soon as this summer with teacher training. It aligns very well with ethnic studies. I'll be hopefully talking to Dr. Alvarez and her team about it, but I did want to bring it to your attention. This looks like a tremendously valuable resource, and I would encourage the board and the administration to look into it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lucy Ugarte.
Good evening, President Solis, Dr. Aguirre, trustees. Last month, I asked you for your attendance at the Community Schools Summit, and for those of you that were able to attend, thank you. One of the important aspects that I spoke about at the summit was the fact that Sweetwater is in a very unique position when it comes to community and community schools. We have communities from San Diego, Imperial Beach, National City, Chula Vista, and we are not in isolation. Our students, Sweetwater students, are Chula Vista students. Our students are IB students. Our students are National City students. Our students are San Isidro students. And that summit, the resource fair, was to bring forward the community of all those cities. We brought resources, we brought city council members. We wanted to make sure that our students were part of a community, felt that they feel part of a community, because Sweetwater isn't an us versus them. All of those students are Sweetwater. That when we look at our students, we look at where they come from, and that in those communities, the students, the teachers in those districts look at where those students are going, and that we bring forth their council members so that the resources, the teachers can look to those city council members and say, this is what we need for our community. When the associations created the collaborative for the South Bay, using our infrastructure, because it was the associations that created the collaborative. San Isidro Education Association, National City Education and Teacher Association, the Sweetwater Counseling and Guidance Association, Sweetwater Education Association, San Isidro Education Association, Southwest Teachers Association. We used our infrastructure to make sure that we were working in collaboration to share our resources, because we have the infrastructure working together in South County Teachers United. And this month, at the end of the month, they will be presenting, or we will be presenting on the national level how we did that, how we're one of the few who have come together to make sure that we have those resources, and we're going to be presenting how we did that. So we're kind of the pioneers. On that note, we want to thank everyone who donated to South County Teachers United Day of the Educator celebration on Friday. We had over 421 teachers from all of the associations pass through, including families, and we were able to give over 30 raffle prizes to our members from all of those associations, thanks to the donations of Dr. Arancibia, Vice President Lopez, and Trustee Lopez Cepeda. So thank you very much, and hopefully next year we will have those numbers grow and the donations grow. Thank you.
Thank you.
No further speakers.
Thank you. Clerk of the Board, would you please read the items being pulled from the consent agenda?
The following items are pulled: F3 by staff, F8 by the public, J5 by the public, J7 by the public, J8 by the public, K4 by staff, L1 by the public, L2 by the public, L6 by staff, and M5 by the public.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved. We have a motion.
Second.
And a second.
Flores?
Yes.
Arancibia?
Yes.
Emerald? Yes. Lopez?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
Okay, start with F3. Anybody want to start us off? F3? No? 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 Moving on up, F8.
I have one speaker, Kathleen Shears.
Thank you.
My only concerns on this item are fiscal responsibility. It's not the rent, it's the improvement that we will be funding. Let us remember, no matter the fund, the source are taxpayer dollars. I attempted to research this. I went on the district website. I was trying to understand launch and everything. For the record, you need to do better, because I'm a research person. And I could have reached out to contacts I have, but I didn't want to bother them. So here are some questions. Why are we doing this, number one? Number two, couldn't we use one of our East Side school site campuses, or move it to L Street, since we're moving everything else to L Street? I'll be talking more on that later. The district website references new site on 2nd Avenue. So, but yet you're moving it to Millennia, and that's on the east side. What resource can I use to educate myself on this? Number one, another question. And finally, are there going to be more than one of these sites? Does that make any sense to you? Mm-hmm. I mean, are you going to have one on the east side and one on the west side? Because I know that there are a lot of kids on the west side that do it. Will they be going to Millennia? How are they going to get there? Are you going to pay for buses? So I just need to know where to go to look. But I'm totally against us spending our dollars to improve a Chula Vista site. Bottom line. Thank you very much.
No further speakers.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? No? Dr. Arancibia, did you have? No? Okay. Dr. Aguirre? If you
Sure. So I'll ask Ms. Quirk to address some of the generalities around this, and then if there's any specifics, we can ask Dr. Moore, who also oversees the Launch Virtual Academy program. Ms. Quirk.
Sure. So I'll answer questions about the design process and the construction timeline, and defer program questions for launch to Dr. Moore. We started the process about a year and a half ago in terms of conversations with the city about a location to consolidate our launch virtual teachers who are spread throughout the district into a modern facility and opportunity at the Millennia Project. And so there's been a partnership and a collaboration that's been under discussion. There's an MOU in place. And last year, probably about this time, we started the design process with them, and the facility is on the ground level. It's 40 teaching pods, so all the teachers that are spread throughout the district will be at one location, so they can do in-person collaboration. Even though they are a virtual campus, their administration will be there, and students will have opportunities to drop in for one-on-one tutoring if and when needed. So that's what the task has been and the charge. It's been a really quite a pleasant experience, and we are on track. That build-out is under construction right now, and on track to open the facility for the new school year.
And Dr. Moore, if you could please share about the program aspects of Launch Virtual Academy.
Sure. Thank you, board, and good evening. Launch, excuse me. Launch Virtual Academy is the district's effort into online learning. Many districts have moved away from having a virtual school, and we have remained consistent in this area. There is an absolute place for virtual learning. Launch currently has about 800 students enrolled in grades 7 through 12. So it's really one of our thriving programs. And what the main thrust of it is an online teaching and learning experience for students to do their work remotely, but also have the in-person opportunities. So it's very much like a hybrid program. Students can do their classes online and turn in work as such, but then tons of in-person opportunities, including a very innovative space called a Space Hub, very much in the theme of launch and outer space, mission control, and all of the accoutrement that you would think of from an in-person school, like prom and in-person graduation and other events take place at launch. The move to Millennia is one. Launch started in a few offices, in fact, in the back of Dr. Winter's area on L Street. And then it exploded because enrollment and getting teachers to work in the program, counselors and all the support staff. We occupy about, I think, 12 different campuses, classrooms on 12 different campuses now. So having one consolidated space for approximately 40 or so teachers plus staff has been a dream of launch for a long time. And so this move to Millennia provides a fantastic space that is going to be specially designed for the purposes of launch an online virtual school. So we're not looking at creating large classrooms or converting large classrooms into teaching pods. These are already designed to be individual teaching pods. And then as you look through the lease, I think the lease is a very favorable lease for the district because this partnership opportunity with the city of Chula Vista and the other tenants that are occupying the building, including San Diego State, including, I believe, Southwestern College will be having some space there, plus the new media center that the city of Chula Vista is working on. Honestly, this presents a really unique opportunity for Sweetwater Union High School District to have a footprint in this space that hopefully will be the launch pad for, as Dr. Aguirre mentioned earlier in his statements, some of the long-term higher education moves that are coming to Chula Vista and to the South Bay area. And so we're excited about it. I think it offers a very unique opportunity. And I hope that we can look at this opportunity. There's going to be some bumps. I know in talking with the faculty 2 weeks ago about the type of leadership that they're looking for at Launch Virtual Academy. I know there's some concerns about the move, but we will make sure to address those. And ideally, it'll be a great space for our students in our community.
And from a kind of conceptual level, in the world of declining enrollment, this does allow us to be competitive with many charter schools that offer a virtual experience. So I think coupled with what Dr. Moore just described, our ability to be able to be competitive with charter schools is something that really makes Launch Virtual Academy a unique offering that we have in our district. So those are some of the reasons of the why.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
Move to approve.
We have a motion and a second.
Flores?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald? Yes. Lopez?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
Okay. J5.
I have one speaker, Kathleen Shears.
Speaking as a former corporate executive, I remember these conferences. While they did share valuable information, truth be told, our company didn't need to send multiples to the conferences. Tonight, my theme is fiscal responsibility, as if you haven't kind of got the drift already. It's perplexing when I hear, read, and see so many districts, including Sweetwater, needing to make financial cuts to student programs, teachers, counselors, and all employees, and then attempt to understand why both Ms. Lopez Zepeda could not attend one of the meetings and Mr. Lopez the other, returning and sharing the information gained with the remaining trustees. Question, why is there a monetary difference between the two trustees' expenditures as listed, while only $150, every dollar counts these days? Respectfully, I've made this comment before. I think sometimes everybody gets so wrapped up with what they're doing, they forget that those of us, not the teachers here or the counselors, but people like me, are ignorant on a lot of things. You have a lot to promote. What I just heard about launch, why don't I know that? I mean, I'm here. God knows you hate it, but I'm here all the time. And I've heard launch, but this is a positive. I would think that you would have a whole thing there. Like I said, I searched on the district website. It was here, it was there, but actually getting into the details. So I would just like to respectfully recommend that you do a better job, because these are our tax dollars, but they're also benefiting the students and the parents. And we need to know this. If you want to draw people, you need to get the information out. Thank you.
No
Thank-
further speakers.
Thank you. Questions or comments on J5? Okay, no comments. Entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second.
Flores?
Yes.
Arencibia? Yes. Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
J7?
I have one speaker, Kathleen Shears.
I'm not understanding. The wording states approve positions not being budgeted. While the word approve is indicative of a positive, the words not being budgeted is a clear signal of position eliminations. See, I may be old, but I catch on pretty quick. There are 5 pages of these approved eliminations, and while I did note that there were some that were being used or moved to another site, there were far more eliminations than transfers. Please explain the impact on the students if these and will these grant expirations be replaced with new ones? Thank you.
No further speakers.
Questions or comments from the board? Ms. Emerald?
Yeah, I'd like to get more details on that as well. Would this be a matter that we would continue until we get more details and then bring it back to the board?
I think Dr. Aguirre has a statement or comment.
Yeah, so this is pretty straightforward. If you look on the actual form, as Mrs. Cheers indicates, a very significant number of these are due to grants expiring.
Oh, okay.
There is no grant renewal. This money tends to come from the state or federal governments, and it has been expired. And so, to the degree possible, I think for the most part, these are mostly partial assignments that can be filled through other funding mechanisms. But these particular grants, as you can see, it says grant expiration, the vast majority of these. This is in alignment with our attrition-based strategy. So rather than eliminate positions with people in them, these are grants that have been funded that are there's no longer any grant funding, and so it aligns with our attrition-based strategy. If folks would like for there to be greater funding, you could go to the state government or federal government, but at the end of the day, we knew that these grants would expire. These were time limited, and they had a sunset, and we've arrived at the sunset period.
And so the total that will be eliminated is how much?
So if you could scroll down to the bottom, I believe it's about the equivalent of 117 FTEs, and the funding amount is approximately $17.8 million. So this means that we did not have to take an approach of issuing layoffs. Rather, we are working to address these as grants expire through an attrition mechanism to minimize the impact on staff.
Okay.
And this is, I mean, I want to finish up, follow up. I think it's important to actually note that this is because declining enrollment is pushing us to a point that, we have to make some, decisions with regards to the budget that, may impact, services to an extent, but we don't want it impacting the labor, at that point. And I think we have to be very, very aware of that. This is the common denominator. New York Times had actually a point about this last weekend in the Sunday paper that declining enrollment can be traced directly back to declining birth rates, not just in California, not just in San Diego, not just because the gas prices are too high. I think it's the general attitude since 2008 that having a child is not only expensive, it's also challenging and demanding. So this is part of the future that we have to see and not be reactive and waiting 5 years from now when this is still on our books and then we're looking like we're $20 million further down, and instead being proactive and seeing what we can do immediately to be able to remove these grant-based jobs from our budget.
Anything else, Ms. Emerald?
I think that's an excellent explanation, and we're staying on top of it, of course, each funding cycle and each year. But we are hard-pressed to provide the same services that we were providing in the past with the budgets that we're now having to work within. So I get it. But it can be very complicating, and it can be disturbing, too. You know, which way are we going here? And ultimately, we're looking at cutting back, unless the birth rate changes, unless you got more kids in school. And we can't control that, but we can control what we're here to do and the numbers that we have and how we budget the money, the funds that we have to serve our kids and our communities.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Did you want a motion?
Entertain a motion, yes.
Okay, so
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second.
Flores?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
Okay, moving on to J8.
I have one speaker, Michael Wong.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Michael Wong. I'm representing the City of San Diego's Economic Development Department. I am here to urge your approval of the 3 compensation agreements for the city's Liberty Station, Chinese Historical Museum, and the Walker Scott site. In accordance with the state's redevelopment dissolution laws, the city intends to retain ownership of these sites to continue their ongoing redevelopment uses. In order to do so, the dissolution laws require that the city enter into compensation agreements with all affected tax entities, such as the school districts, and pay a compensation amount to each based on its percentage share of property tax revenues. While you may have heard that if the board does not approve the compensation agreement, specifically the Liberty Station agreement, the city will be forced to sell these properties, resulting in greater revenues to the school districts. This is simply not true, as explained in the letters that we sent out to you. There is nothing in the dissolution laws that require the city to sell, and there is nothing requiring a different compensation amount than what is included in the proposed agreements. In conclusion, the city has followed all steps required by the state's redevelopment dissolution laws, and we urge you to approve the 3 compensation agreements before you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Entertain a motion.
Moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second.
Flores?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
K4. Adopt declaration of need. Dr. Aguirre?
Thank you, President Solis. For this item, I will ask Dr. Gavin to introduce it. Dr. Gavin.
Good evening. So the item K4, Declaration of Need, is an item that we submit annually through our Human Resources Department. And this is an item a form that we complete and send to the CTCC. It's where we indicate the number of, or anticipated number of emergency credentials and authorization permits that we may need for the upcoming 26-27 school year. And that's for teachers that may be working on credentials, but it provides them a waiver authorization to teach certain subject matters where there's a high need. They tend to be in special education, those that might be working on getting their librarian credential. Those are just some examples of the areas where we've seen the most high need. PE teachers as well are authorizations that we've been granted. So again, this is more an anticipated number of authorizations or emergency credentials we anticipate that need to be granted for the upcoming school year.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
Move it.
Okay, we have a motion
So moved.
and a second.
Flores?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
L1.
I have one speaker, Kathleen Cheers.
Some of you may recall, I fought hard against the recent propositions. When I look at the millions spent on fields versus campuses, and now this plan, I stand by my opinion because of how and where the monies are and have been spent. Additionally, there were those of us who predicted sooner or later, and you remember, we predicted that you'd be coming to us saying you wanted to move everything to L Street. While I'm cognizant of the campus improvement currently underway at schools like Castle Park High, those improvement monies pale in comparison to what we have spent on athletics. This agenda item L1 is asking for the district office consolidation to be increased by $15 million, then tonight's L6 is another $8 million. Again, we have prioritized adult housing over student learning. I have a lot more to say, but I'm just going to say this. Knowledge is power. To me, just respectfully, you're piecemealing this. Piecemealing this to me. 15 here, 8 there. I know there was a description of what you're going to be doing. Unfortunately, I don't have bifocals, so I was not able to look at it online, and when I got here tonight, I'm still unable to read what's going on. So again, I would like to respectfully recommend that information is power. Let us know. What is the plan? When you say district office, you've got a parking lot, whatever you're doing out there. Wait, I thought we're moving to L Street. So for someone like me who beats you all to death every month about money, you knew this was coming, Dr. Gary. I mean, you said, God, I got to deal with her tonight over money, I know. So just if you could give us the whole plan. What are you moving there? There's a lot of big buildings over there. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was Ratner's, and you don't even know what Ratner's is. I know, I'm looking at you, young as my kids. But I know how big those buildings are. So we need a plan, those of us that are paying the bills. And I know you do too, but you've got the power, I've got the mouth. So thank you very much.
Thank
No
you.
further speakers.
Thank you. Dr. Aguirre, if you could.
Sure. Sure, briefly. So at this point, what's before the board is the design aspect of the budget. That's correct. It's not the totality of. The totality of the cost will depend on the actual eventual design. So that is accurate. In terms of the project here at L Street, we have a safety and security fence installation that's being installed. There's a number of situations that may have occurred. So we're installing a perimeter fencing is what we're doing. And that's, yeah. So thank you. The plan for the longer term plan is once we consolidate, it would free up the different campuses. So this property here on Fifth Avenue would be vacated. So there would be the opportunity there to sell or lease, and that would be up to 7-Eleven committee. Also, the property on Moss Avenue, north and south, would also be able to be consolidated, and so it would also create the opportunity to either sell or lease. So those are part of the considerations. There will be some revenues that would be coming back in on the back end once everybody's consolidated. This is likely to be a years-long effort. It's not going to be a short-term endeavor. So by the time it's actually completed, there is that possibility of recuperating some of those costs. But the other savings that will be there are in operational aspects, so things like maintenance, things like repairing HVACs and roofs and maintaining the plumbing, the electrical, all those things. Right now we're having to deal with different campuses, so by consolidating it, it does bring some scale and our ability to actually bring some operational savings. So there's multiple pieces to this puzzle. It's not simple, that's true. But I believe and have full confidence that Ms. Quirk and her team will work to put something that's realistic, that's practical, and that's not by any means onerous. And it'll be something that's practical that can serve our district for the foreseeable future.
Thank you, Dr. Aguirre. Any other questions or comments?
Not motion to approve, though.
Okay, we have a motion. I'll
Second.
Okay, second.
Flores?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
Okay, L2.
I have 1 speaker, Kathleen Cheers.
Ms. Quirk and I are going to become real good buddies, I can tell already. Why are you being asked to ratify these amendments? I'm speaking to the Chula Vista field. Nino and Moore asked for more money to test for hazardous materials. It doesn't take a rocket science to know this. It should have been predicted. Chula Vista was built in 1947. That's 3 years before me. And I'm a hazard material just standing here. Then there are the charge additions requested by Lord Architecture. These charges, over $31,000 worth, being asked for you to approve, already spent, so there's no way you can object to it because you've already spent it. It's not like we haven't done fields before. Chula Vista High School. Hazardous materials, a well-known fact. Ticket booth ramps, not the only field needing a ramp. And then we have the power service. Was the youth center included in the original Chula Vista High field project? I couldn't find that information. If not, why are we piggybacking that expenditure for that building? Change orders, ratifications go hand in hand, not good. In closing, and here I go again, so you've all heard this before, maybe not Mr. No, you have, you were on the bond committee, so you definitely heard it. In closing, when the county managed Montgomery High School's new football field a few years back, I was on that committee. I drove them crazy. Can you imagine that? They invited the entire Montgomery High School staff to come to those meetings in an effort to ensure all necessary needs were addressed. The county made it clear, study the plan, give your input, because once finalized, the checking account was closed for anything other than legal oversights. The things I've mentioned tonight, I'm sorry, they do not need to be ratified. They should have been in the plan. And I apologize to Ms. Quirk for not reaching out to her before the meeting, but nothing she could have said would have shut me up anyway, so thank you very much.
No further speakers.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Dr. Aguirre? Ms. Quirk?
Sure. Thank you. Good evening. So we're in construction and we're doing hundreds of millions of dollars of work, and there are things that pop up. We have to do remediation work at times. We can do all the pre-soil borings that you can imagine before you start a project, and there's earth, and goodness knows what's happened underneath it. And if you find certain oils that are unsuitable, even though you bored 3 feet away from them before for the sample, then you have to go back and do those borings, and you have to do the proper work to make sure it meets all the thresholds from the materials and the structural requirements. So it's not a perfect science. We're doing a heck of a job. I'd love to put my change order rate up next to those amendments, and I think we'd all feel pretty good about it. So we're going to have amendments. There are things that DSA triggers sometimes when we're under construction, and that is why architect fees have to be paid, because they have to do the design in relation to the requirements that have popped up, because there's cross conflicts, et cetera. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to happen, but this is all here because it's warranted. It's necessary. The scope of the work has been abundantly pre-designed, pre-assessed with the campuses. We have to respond sometimes, and we have to make adjustments as we go.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Dr. Anasivia?
just eyeballing here. We're talking about $4 million, $5 million, correct?
For which project?
No, I mean for the rather things that we're ratifying, right? At the most, it could be maybe, from what I'm seeing, and I could be, I'm looking at comments. The largest number I see is $2,273,000.
That was probably that's the original.
Right? Yeah. In relationship to all the projects that we have going on right now, what percentage is that in terms of the larger picture of all the projects that we have going on right now?
I can't answer that specifically right off the top, but soft costs for projects run at about, right now, about 45%. We've seen some of our largest escalation in costs for projects in our soft costs with our architects and engineers and construction management firms. So, but that has nothing to do with why those amendments are coming through.
But I mean, I think it's perspective, right? I mean, if we're talking, we're running budgets that are over $250 million. That number right there is literally 1% shift of what we're talking about.
Yes.
And then on top of that, you add all the other numbers, it's still 1.2% of a shift. So I think we have to be able to look at the larger picture and understand, hey, you know, is the number really, I mean, I'm sorry, I've learned how to do kind of Cliff's Notes things to the thing is to understand the numbers and to see in perspective of what we have. And yes, the numbers do end up shifting because, yeah, we find stuff in the dirt. We can't know the unknowns. That's part of the job of actually doing the job, doing the work there. But I'm actually very comfortable with the numbers, and for that reason, I'm going to make the motion to approve.
And I'll say I'm absolutely willing, if there's details that would be happily provided, it'll map it out for everybody. So, Ms. Chairs, if you want to send me your questions specifically, you know I'm going to pull together the detail. We're good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Quirk. We have a motion?
Second.
And a second.
Flores?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
L6.
Thank you, President Solis. For this one, we have a report, I believe, unless we have any public speakers, as you said. So Ms. Quirk has a presentation and report. I think we've actually covered a significant component of this presentation in the previous discussions, but I'll ask her to go ahead and provide that presentation that she's prepared. Ms.
Sure.
Quirk.
I just texted Dr. Green and said, you pretty much just gave my presentation. So we're going to get started. This should be fairly brief, and Deanne is going to be, Ms. Facedo is going to assist with clicking the slides. So our topic of conversation is the district office and the design for the consolidation and rehabilitation over at L Street. Next slide. So we have been doing work. You've seen some of that activity come through through board agenda items in this last better part of 3 years. And so what you see up here is the Google shot on the left of our existing L Street property in all of its glory. And then on the right is an image from our space planning analysis that we did to figure out if we could fit. And when we say, can we fit, what does that mean? It means picking up all district offices and services from throughout the district and placing them into the L Street property. And not just into the property, we've been able to confirm that we can refine this enough that we can fit in the main warehouse building, demolishing the 2 storefront buildings, and going so far as that extension that you see off the warehouse that goes out towards L Street, that also will be demolished. So on the most western side, on the left-hand side of the page where you see that long sliver that goes down to a point, that is currently where we are waiting for SDG&E patiently to put in our chargers for our EV buses. And then as we move from the left to the right of the page, on the first section of the building, right when you get inside that red line, there's a huge warehouse store area inside the building. That location will be built out in 2 stories for general office staff. And then as we move west to east within the building, it'll go into a board conference room, IT center in the center. Front door is where you see the grass line and it kind of indents. And then as we move to the right of that, which is east, is all facilities and operations, maintenance, transportation, all of their shops, facility planning and construction, nutrition services, associated warehouses, storage for VAPA, for CTE, et cetera. We fit abundantly, and we will be continuing to refine what we're doing there. But that's what the concept is, so all consolidation. Nobody will be remaining here at 5th Avenue. Ms. Facedo, if you go to the next slide. So what we've done, I just went over the space planning. We've also done property appraisals to date, which we will bring those forward through a 7-Eleven committee when the time is right for that. When we did the property appraisals, we did the Hunt East Lake Parkway property, 5th Avenue, Moss North, and L Street. And then in addition to that, with the L Street, there's a sliver of the property that's at the end of Arizona that actually comes into our fence lines that is still owned by the city of Chula Vista. I understand why it's probably never happened before. It's been a fairly exhaustive and cumbersome process, and I think folks historically have started it, either gotten tired or left, and so it hasn't gone anywhere. And we are in the inside of 2 years of this process right now, and we are finally getting plans kicked out from SDG&E. We'll be writing a check, and then we'll be in a place, I'm hoping by the end of summer, where we're actually rounding the corner towards taking all of our documents to the city of Chula Vista and moving towards getting that sliver vacated. And then what that will do is allow any of the development that we need to continue to do to really open us up there at Arizona Street on the L Street property in itself, because it is kind of weird. Next slide. So funding would be a combination of Measure D and Measure R. They both support district office consolidation and relocations within their proposite or their measure language. Propo does not, so it would not be included in there. Utilizing a portion of CFDs, we've engaged our consultant on that, and they're doing an analysis of what percentage of CFDs could be supported for that, as the theory is that the district office supports the services of all students and all sites. A portion of developer fees, and then in the big picture, surplusing of existing properties would be thrown into that equation as well. Next slide. So timeline, this is not a short process. Just for the design alone, to get us DSA approval, review and approval, we're looking all the way to March 2028 for that. So just for context, it's May of 2026. So we would start the programming, and so when we get into programming, that's what we will sit down with each of the departments, each of the division heads, and we start to pull apart the pieces of what's everybody's form and function, what's their relationship within the departments and with other departments, who needs front of house, who needs back of house access, storage needs, et cetera. While we're also taking into consideration a pretty significant overhaul of our own systems. We have RFPs out to do shredding and consolidate because we're going paperless, so we can continue to shrink our own footprints. So programming, and these are just timelines. I can see programming taking us a little bit longer, and I can see that DSA review and approval going all the way, past March of 2028. Not much, but a little bit towards summer. That's just the practicality of the level of design and coordination that we would need to do. And once we finish programming, then we start moving into all the construction document development. And then as we're taking a look at this, we would be taking a look at how funds to support the work, once we are looking at estimates, et cetera, would be phased into our various issuances that we have on the docket in the coming years. Next slide. And so the action is to, which you've already done actually, is to authorize the $15 million in funding for architectural and consultant services for the design of L Street property with the intent of consolidating and relocating all district offices and services. For a question on what are other consultant services, we will need to do geotechnical testing on the property, right? They're very well, who knows what's out there entirely. We could run into things where there could be unknown hazmat situations that are covered up with asphalt right now. We have to do more extensive hazmat testing even inside the warehouse building. It's an old building, and so there's certain remediation that will have to go on there. So all the buildings that will be demolished have to have hazmat testing. And there's probably, we are putting the civil engineering or the surveying into the civil engineering's contract. So that's one less contract that we'll manage. It puts that whole burden on them. But there will be other things that come up. As the design continues to be completed, we will also initiate an EIR, the environmental impact report, which I don't really see it triggering anything, but we'll have to go through that entire process as well. Because one of the main components is working on the circulation around the property, so buses and White Fleet can exit out onto L Street. That's too much of a burden for us to maintain on Arizona. For those of us that are familiar, Arizona is a very small street. It's almost like being in your neighborhood, and it's always packed with cars and things like that anyway because of the businesses that are on that. So that's what the action and the request is for tonight. And that is the end of my presentation, if you have any questions.
Questions or comments from the board?
And then,
Ms. Emerald?
and then what winds up happening with this property? I know that's not what's on the docket tonight, but just to give us a feel for what happens, the trade-off.
Yeah, so that would be subject to what's known colloquially as the 7-Eleven Committee, which is a committee that looks at surplusing property. They would then have the option to develop a recommendation to the board, either to lease or to sell. They would look at current valuations, and so that's something that would it's purview of the board, but there is a recommendation that comes via that committee. Again, we refer to it colloquially as 7-Eleven Committee, not because it sells Slurpees, but because it has to have between 7 and 11 members. And they would develop a recommendation for board consideration.
And that decision would be based on what the needs of the community are, what the limitations in this area would be, whether it's housing or other businesses. That decision would be made down the road.
Correct.
Right. Okay. I'd like to move this item unless there's more discussion.
Report.
Yeah, I believe this is a presentation. The
do-
actual authorization happened during the previous
wow.
item.
We do need a motion to approve the contract with IDS that's
Okay.
specifically on this item.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
So moved.
Thank you.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second.
Flores?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes,
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
thank you. And M5.
I have one speaker, Kathleen Cheers.
I was going to pull this item until I got my dander up. You know me very well, Mr. Solis. You know I got my dander up. I think we need to kind of look at it from those of us that are not in the district's perspective. Go to Sioux High. Go to the old buildings in Sioux High. Compare that to brand-new buildings for the district employees and for everybody else. The one thing I hate about our national leadership is when somebody sits up there and tells me, oh, well, it's, we spent 50 million and, we only, don't do that. Don't do that. $4 million to the average taxpayer is a lot of money. I don't care how big the project is. I don't care how much you're spending. I know you have got a PhD, sir. I have high respect for you. But the last thing you want on an advertisement, if you run for this board again, is, well, he said it's only $4 million. I have great respect for Ms. Quirk, but I have worked very hard since the year 2008 to educate myself on this. And when I say a football field has had ramps, and that should have been included, it should have been included. You can disagree with me all you want. You're not going to change me. Please do not underestimate when you're talking about money to taxpayers. This building is old. This whole area is old. But again, go to Sioux High. Go to those back buildings. And then come back to me and explain to me why you all are deserving, but those students and those teachers are not. Thank you very much. You all have a good evening.
No further speakers.
Thank you. Entertain a motion?
So
Or
moved.
questions or comments? Sorry. We have a motion
Second.
and a second.
Flores?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
Thank you. With that, meeting's adjourned.